Hey everyone, welcome to D Time. Thank you for listening. And today's episode is called Strict Training. And training is something that, I think we all have experience with to a certain extent. And for me, I associate strict training with I memories of basketball camps and just you know uh, training camps for basketball season getting ready to start in school. I think of that as strict training. And yeah, as I was younger, I wasn't really all about strict training. I didn't look forward to those times. And as an adult, I think we can sometimes use strict training as that, as a negative. And I'm seeing, or as I'm growing more and more, I see definitely the need for training ourselves, training our mind, improving ourselves. But I think back to those times as a child and how I despised strict training, despised getting up and really pushing myself. Even though I know that the benefits were worth it, but as I'm older, I definitely see the need and the importance of bettering yourself, training, and really pushing yourself to get better. That's part of the reason why I started this podcast, is to finish something. I've mentioned about starting a bucket list and just having an item on there of finishing a project. And so I know to do that is going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a commitment, and training is all about that. And I think at the stage of my life, again, I'm seeing such a need for improving myself in training. And so I want to encourage all the people listening out there, if maybe there's areas of your life where you want to grow in and improve in, just to wrap your head around the reality that it's going to take training. You have to train yourself. And even more importantly, a thing to remember is that, if it's been a while since you've kind of pushed yourself, you have to overcome years and months and countless days of not pushing yourself. And so it's going to be harder, but just to wrap your mind around the reality that that's what it's going to take. I think, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree that, the battle starts in the mind. The battle starts with how you view training. I think we have to have a healthy mindset about it, but just a healthy reality of knowing that it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be worth it, but we have to be real with ourselves. And so, strict training is just all about that. You know, Putting your mind first and your body second. And if there's anyone listening that maybe has some tips or tricks on how they go about training, whether it's physical, whether it's just mental, or practical training, feel free to share. In part two, you're gonna hear a conversation with a friend of mine, Dennis. He's a young guy, but he's a great example of just training his mind and physically and mentally. He's going to school. He's studying a discipline in karate that we'll chat about. And so he has some great insights or advice to share. So stick around for part two. Please subscribe to the podcast so you can hear all the other episodes when they drop, or so you won't miss any of them. And drop us a link if you have any thoughts or comments at dtimepodcast@gmail.com. Peace. All right, Dennis, thanks, man, for joining me today. First off, man, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. Like, there's a lot I could say. 'Cause that's such a broad question. Like, I guess I'm just like trying to figure out my life. I'm 20, still going to college, trying to work out my AA degree. I'm a son of two immigrants, Korean. So I'm Korean American. I was born in Jersey. Came here at the age of 7, I believe, and just really busy. Like, honestly, like I'm just working, having a lot of, if it's like work, just to pay my rent or going to school, trying to figure out that whole situation, and then just doing a lot of stuff for the church. If it's going to Bible talks, which are basically like where we kind of just invite people out and we try to have conversations about the Bible and God, or if it's going to things like midweek where a lot of the guys get together and we can just talk and have fun and just talk about our lives and just read the Bible and just get into it. And yeah, man, like if I had to like sum it up, my life is just surrounded around like the church, school, and work. And I guess I have like side activities too. If it's my martial arts training that I do on the side. I'm trying to get more into that, like more involved. I was like super involved like a couple months back where I just had a lot more free time. And I just, and it's something that I really love. It's, I do something called Balinta Walk. It's, it's like, it specializes in like weapons. It's a martial arts that comes from Eskrima. It's really cool. There's like a really rich history to it. And every time I talk to the guy that trains me, he just talks a lot about the history, and it gets really deep. And yeah, besides that, I love to like work out. Whenever I get the time, like again, like in the summer, I used to like work out almost every day, but because I'm so busy, I'm having like a hard time to just get in the gym. But yeah, I love training. I really love watching, I'm trying to do it too, but mostly for now, I'm just watching a lot of videos on how to do Olympic weightlifting. It's like really cool. There's like, it's composed of like two movements, and there's like a rich history to it too, but like it's not that big in America. It's really cool. Yeah, so like that's kind of what I try to surround myself with. If it church, school, work, and then just physical activities. Try to be healthy. Yeah,
Awesome.
cool.
Man, it sounds like, in your life there's a lot of training going on, whether it's, school, learning that stuff, or, martial arts, or like you said, Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah.
What do you think is the hardest part of just training in general?
In general, sorry. I think the hardest thing is, dang, that's really hard. If I think about school, I think one of the things I realized is that like I like studying a lot of times is becoming a little more difficult, and it's just kind of realizing that I kind of got into school because of my parents. You know what I mean? Like, they have like again, I can't speak for other people or cultures, but traditionally, like Korean parents have like very strong hold on their kids and like what they do and what they can or can't do. And so for a long time, I've been like just yeah, like realizing that like kind of just reevaluating if I really want this, and yeah, for what it seems like I wanted, I want to go to school. I really love what I'm studying right now. And other things is just making time, because it's like like you could schedule it, like everything from studying to working out. Like I schedule, like if I have like a planner and I like plan everything out for the week, it never goes according to plan, because you realize like you're getting like 6 hours of sleep because you're trying to fit in everything. You're trying to fit in like hanging out with people from the church, or if it's like working out, studying, and then sometimes you have to study a little bit more. So you kind of have to sacrifice some other stuff, and work is super tiring too. So like it never goes according to plan. So yeah.
Right. Man, that's intense. So with that schedule and everything that you have going on, man, what do you feel like helps you best to make sure that you stay on track, so to speak?
Uh, don't make it too like I used to make it super specific, where it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this right here, and then I get like frustrated when it wouldn't go according to plan. So I make it a little bit more like broad. Like I'm like, oh, I'll try working out in this general time, and so I space it out enough where like I have like enough breathing room where like, oh, I can like transition. Like there's like 10 minutes, 20 minutes to like, oh, I can do this here, and then I can have like a 20-minute period to kind of get to my another thing that I'm trying to do. I try to like cram everything into like every little minute, and it just doesn't work. And that got to me like mentally and physically. I was just like stressed out. I was like, why am I not like you know, it looks good on paper, but it just won't work. So yeah, try to just space everything out and not get overwhelmed.
Gotcha. That's awesome. So if someone was coming to you, maybe they want to be better at, at just training or getting better at different things in their life, what advice would you give them?
Training or just in life? Man, I would say like honestly, a lot of times I sit down and I just reevaluate like my life a lot. I'm just like, do I really want it? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you're just gonna, if there's something in your life that's not like you don't like vibe with it, I wouldn't really put a lot of time in, because it's like then you're not really passionate about it and you won't get the results that you want. Like, because if you really loved it, like you'll be able to pour a lot of time into it. You pour extra time into it. You know, like if it's like outside studying, and so you'll kind of see more results that way. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, and I always like to ask this question just to pick people's brains and kind of get their input. What would you say was the best piece of advice that someone's giving you?
Best piece of advice. Yo, okay. Best piece of advice. Dang, that's tough. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if there's any like. I'm pretty sure there is something. I just can't think of it at the top of my head. If I had to just give like advice out there, then it's like do something you love. Like you don't want to like do something that you hate, and then 10, 20 years later, it just doesn't. You kind of come to that epiphany like I don't want to do this, and you quit your job or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, man, again, thanks for taking the time out to share your input and share some keys, man. I really appreciate it.